they start. People think that, okay, we're ASC members, we're always getting like the big stuff and all that, and we don't have. I DIY 70% of still on whatever massive budget or no budget. It's like, I love the scrappy nature of that. And I love what you're talking about. It's like, I don't have the money to light that depth. Let me just put one of these things that goes 25 feet in the air, crank the damn thing on, turn it on, and that's going to give me depth in the woods. This scrappy nature, I think you never want to lose as a director of photography. And it infuses me and how I do everything. Like somebody's like the whole, one thing that I recently started doing is with the Stereotubes. They're great and all, but they're not really good on the face. So I found super noodles that are huge water noodles, and I slip them inside that. It fires through, 2.5 inches of foam. And now you can put that thing right there. It doesn't fly all over the place. And it's the perfect light in the eyes. It's like, that's a super noodle from some pool supply joint. But that's kind of how I've always been as a cinematographer. I'm very tactile. I grew up on a farm. I love to try all these different stuff. So tell me about some of your other kind of scrappy nature that you had to do on that show, on that movie.
Yeah. So we're in the cabin or the house. It was actually a house in Brentwood.
That's so good, because it does look like you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it was an amazing little house in Brentwood. And I kind of liked that we were in Brentwood and we had a curfew, because I always think, like, you think a horror film, you're going to do like 2 weeks of nights.
Yeah.
And you don't get the best out of the crew working all night. And luckily we had a midnight curfew. So we had to, sometimes, like I said, tent the house and untent it and retent it. So that was great. And the crew was fresh every day, worked till 11 o'clock, 11:30, and then taillights by 12. So we shot at this house. And when you have so little money, and I learned this, I don't know, going back to my old music video days, like what the location has, use what the location has. This location had track lighting. So basically I'm like, okay, I'm going to use the track lighting and augment it with Asteras. So we would put Asteras near track, the MR16s up in the track lighting. And then when I wanted to change the color, I just, go full blue on it or half blue and change the whole mood of the whole room. And it worked fine. It looks like a different room from day to night and like certain times. But yeah, you have to use what's there. And that's what I did on both of the main rooms. I said, what do they have here? Give me a top light here and change the bulbs, change the color or something. You just have to use what's there because you can't afford it. You don't have the money. You
got to get scrappy. You got to get ingenious with that kind of stuff and use what the location. I always talk about, you can find locations that light themselves, even in day exteriors. You're like looking at a place and like, okay, I got a lot of trees over here. That's my negative fill. I got open sky over here. It's going to start to light itself. You're also looking at that when you're picking your locations as a house like that, thinking about, okay, what does it have? What can I utilize? And what can I take from my cinema tools? Like you said, take the MR16 track light that they're in many homes and just use some gel and use some, maybe even you can, use like even little honeycomb discs to stick in there so it goes exactly where you want it. It doesn't fly all over, but it's more that kind of DIY style that you got to pull out when you're doing these kind of, lower budget things. Personally, inspires the shit out of me to do those type of movies. Like when I did Act of Valor, that was $6.5 million.